I want you to imagine something. You wake up on a Saturday morning, you stretch, and sunlight is streaming through the blinds.
Oh, that is just the best feeling.
Right. Honestly, you feel amazing. You feel completely refreshed, energized, and totally ready to tackle the weekend. But then you glance down at your wrist.
Oh no, I know exactly where this is going.
Yeah, you tap your smartwatch, the screen lights up and flashes this terrible sleep score. It's glowing red, claiming you tossed and turned all night, barely getting any restorative rest.
And just like that, the morning is ruined.
Exactly. In that exact second, something weird happens. That rested feeling vanishes. You suddenly feel sluggish.
Yeah, you start actually feeling tired.
Yes. You begin to doubt your own body, trusting a piece of glass and silicon, more than your own lived physical experience.
It is a profoundly modern psychological shift. I mean, we are actively overriding our own internal biological signals because a device on our wrist is flashing a notification.
Right.
It essentially says, your perception is incorrect. Here is your actual reality.
And that tension right there, that moment of outsourcing our reality to an algorithm, is exactly why we do this. Welcome, listeners, to another My Mind MashUps deep dive where we unravel mysteries, spark curiosity, and make sense of complex ideas together.
We created this space to, cut through the noise.
Yeah, to take these daily experiences and figure out what is actually happening behind the screens.
Today, our mission is to explore what researchers are calling the quantified self-trap. We're going to lean heavily into the core pillars of our deep dives, which means sparking curiosity, challenging assumptions, and expanding understanding.
Absolutely.
Especially regarding how wearable technology is fundamentally altering our relationship with our own biology.
But before we really get into the weeds on this, we want to take a quick moment to thank all the listeners who showed their appreciation by buying us a coffee.
Yes, thank you so much.
Your support is what keeps the research going and the mics on. If you would like to support our channel, the link is in the description below. And please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe if you enjoy content that makes you think.
So getting into that relationship with our biology, we really have to look at how quickly this shift occurred.
Oh, it's fast.
So fast. The sheer scale of the biometric data collection happening right now is, frankly, unprecedented in human history.
Okay, let's unpack this, because before we critique the anxiety and the tech glitches, we have to acknowledge that these devices didn't just appear out of nowhere. We invited them in.
We absolutely did.
They have totally taken over the world, and I'm guilty of it too. I look at my watch constantly to see if I've moved enough today.
Well, the adoption rates are staggering. According to a 2025 IDC report, in 2024 alone, worldwide shipments of smartwatches, fitness trackers, and hearables surpassed 543 million units.
Wow. Over 500 million in 1 year.
Yeah, that is a 6.1% increase over the previous year. And the projections, they estimate we will hit 740 million smartwatch users globally by 2029.
That is nearly 10% of the entire human population walking around with a continuous biometric sensor strapped to their body.
Right, it's a massive global surge. And that same report highlighted that this isn't just a luxury market anymore.
Oh, like it's not just the high-end tech bros buying them.
Exactly. Huawei increased their smartwatch shipments by 21.7% year over year, and Xiaomi saw their low-cost wristbands grow by 14.7%.
That's huge.
It really is. Advances in miniature sensors and, low-power wireless chips mean these devices can record second-by-second data. They generate thousands of data points a day for a fraction of the cost they used to be.
I mean, I have to admit, I like the gentle nudge to stand up when I've been sitting at my desk for 3 hours. It kind of feels like a digital accountability buddy on your wrist.
Yeah, it's helpful.
But I do have to push back a little and ask, is this just us tracking for the sake of tracking, or is this actually transforming public health on a macro scale?
It's a fair question, but the data suggests there are real, tangible benefits to the tracking. There was a comprehensive 2025 systematic review and meta-analysis that looked at 23 randomized controlled trials.
Okay, so a pretty robust study.
Very robust. It involved over 4,500 participants. It proved that wearable activity tracker interventions significantly increase both physical activity time and daily steps compared to just, standard care.
Interesting.
And it works best when the software combines that tracking with personalized goal setting and social support.
So it's basically leveraging basic human psychology. We just really like seeing the little progress bar fill up.
We do. Behavioral theories like self-determination theory back this up completely. Immediate feedback creates a loop that motivates sustained activity.
Right, you see the number go up, you feel good, you walk more.
Exactly. But beyond just getting off the couch, the macro-level public health wins are extraordinary. By aggregating the resting heart rates of millions of users, scientists have been able to detect population-level trends.
Wait, like predicting illnesses?
Yes. Like providing early warnings for influenza or COVID-19 outbreaks days before clinical testing catches up.
That is actually incredible.
And on an individual level, the algorithms are incredibly good at detecting atrial fibrillation, which is a dangerous, irregular heart rhythm. They are literally saving lives by catching conditions people had no idea they were walking around with.
Okay, so if we have this incredible tool that gets us moving and might literally catch a heart attack before it happens, it seems like a total win. But I feel like the foundation of all of this motivation is the assumption that the numbers on the screen are actually right.
Yes, that is the catch.
Right, because if the data feeding that motivation is flawed, the whole system starts to look a bit shaky.
Oh, and real quick, if this is resonating, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss the next deep dive. So let's break down that estimation.
When I look at my watch, it says my heart rate is exactly 72 beats per minute. That feels highly precise. What is it actually measuring if it's not my actual pulse?
So it is relying on a mechanism called photoplethysmography, or PPG for short.
PPG.
That is the little green flashing light you see on the back of the watch. It is not feeling your pulse physically. It just shines light into your skin and measures how much of that light scatters back to guess the volume of blood flow.
Wait, it just guesses based on the light?
Yeah, it's a proxy measurement.
Yeah.
And because it relies on optics, it is highly vulnerable to disruption.
Like what kind of disruption?
Movement, sweat, how tight the band is, and even skin tone can alter the light absorption and throw off the reading entirely.
Well, that explains why sometimes I'm running on a treadmill, like gasping for air, and my watch thinks my heart rate is totally resting.
Exactly, the optical sensor just loses the signal.
But what about the sleep tracking? Because that's the metric that can mentally derail a person's entire morning.
Sleep tracking is where the illusion of precision really falls apart. The Sleep Foundation points out that while watches are fairly good at guessing total sleep time—
Because they can tell when you're just lying still.
Right, exactly. But they're only moderately successful at determining actual sleep stages. Even the newest, most advanced generation of devices only accurately identify deep sleep about 59% of the time.
59%? That is barely better than a coin flip. How are they getting it so wrong?
Because of what they are actually measuring. A clinical sleep study uses an EEG to measure your brainwaves, which is where sleep stages actually occur.
Okay, and a watch obviously isn't touching your brain.
Right. A watch only measures movement, known as actigraphy, and heart rate variability. The proprietary algorithms take those physical movements and try to guess what your brain is doing.
That seems like a massive stretch.
It is an incredibly difficult leap to make accurately. And importantly, the FDA does not regulate consumer sleep trackers, so these companies don't even have to publicly prove their algorithms work.
That makes so much sense. So the watch knows I'm not moving, but it has no idea if I'm in deep REM sleep or just lying completely still thinking about an embarrassing thing I said 5 years ago.
Exactly. You can't tell the difference between sleep and existential dread.
And we see this false precision bleeding into diet now, too. Continuous glucose monitors or CGMs are literally everywhere. You don't even need a diabetes diagnosis to get one anymore.
No, you don't. The migration of CGMs into the general wellness space is the perfect case study for this flawed precision. There was a fascinating 2025 randomized crossover trial from the University of Bath that tested these consumer wellness CGMs on healthy adults.
Okay, and what did they compare it to?
They compared the device's continuous readings to actual clinical finger prick blood tests.
Oh, I read the breakdown of their smoothie experiment and my jaw dropped.
It's wild, right?
Yeah, they had participants drink fruit smoothies. The continuous monitor on their arm reported a glycemic index of 69, which is a medium, fairly significant blood sugar spike. But when they took the real blood data from the finger prick, it was only 53, which is a low spike. The wearable overestimated the time spent above blood sugar thresholds by nearly 400%.
What's fascinating here is why that massive discrepancy exists. Professor Javier Gonzalez, who worked on the study, points out a fundamental misunderstanding of the hardware itself.
What do you mean?
CGMs do not measure your blood. They measure glucose in your interstitial fluid, which is the fluid surrounding your cells.
Oh, okay, so there's a biological delay.
A significant one. Think of your bloodstream as a fast-moving river, and the interstitial fluid is the marshland next to it.
I like that analogy.
When you eat, the sugar hits the fast-moving river first. It takes time for that sugar to leak over into the marshland. Because of fluid dynamics, there is a natural time delay.
So the monitor is lagging behind reality.
Exactly. When a healthy person's body rapidly releases insulin to pull sugar out of the blood, the CGM in the interstitial fluid is still reading the old high spike. It creates a completely distorted picture of your metabolism.
Wow. It's like using a broken speedometer to dictate how you drive isn't confidently bad data, much worse than no data. People are looking at their phone, seeing an alarmingly red graph after eating a piece of fruit, and totally panicking over fluid dynamics, not their actual blood sugar.
That is exactly what is happening. A 2026 Mass General Brigham study expanded on the real-world consequences of this. They analyzed nearly 1,000 adults and found that for people with diabetes, CGMs are incredible, life-saving tools.
Because they actually need to track those trends closely.
Yes. The metrics correlated closely with their long-term hemoglobin A1C levels, which is the clinical benchmark for average blood sugar. But for pre-diabetics, that predictive relationship weakened.
And for completely healthy people,
The correlation entirely disappeared.
that is crazy. If the correlation disappears, then healthy people are strapping these to their arms, seeing completely normal, short-lived metabolic fluctuations, and assuming their bodies are failing.
Yes, and then they alter their behavior based on that false assumption.
Right, they start unnecessarily restricting their diets, maybe cutting out complex carbohydrates or fruit that are actually great for their microbiome just because an app told them to.
Which brings us to the psychological trap. When we trust this flawed, highly sensitive data over our own lived experience, it creates a dangerous loop of obsession.
Yeah, let's really dig into that psychological trap, because when you turn your body into a dashboard of metrics that are constantly flashing warnings, the mental toll has to be exhausting.
It is. More data does not automatically equal more empowerment. Very often, it just serves as fuel for hypervigilance. The pursuit of absolute certainty almost always creates anxiety.
Have researchers documented that?
Oh, extensively. There is a striking case report in the literature regarding a 70-year-old woman with a history of paroxysmal atrial fibrillation.
Meaning her irregular heartbeats would just come and go suddenly.
Exactly, without warning.
Yeah.
So she bought a smartwatch with an ECG feature to monitor her heart, hoping it would give her some peace of mind.
But I'm guessing having a heart monitor strapped to her wrist 24/7 did the exact opposite.
It completely consumed her. She developed severe new-onset health anxiety. In a single year, she performed 916 self-initiated ECGs on her watch.
916. That is almost 3 times a day, every single day, just sitting there running a heart scan on herself.
And the tragic part is that the vast majority of them were completely normal. But the watch would occasionally throw an ambiguous or inconclusive reading.
Because of the optical sensor issues we talked about.
Right, maybe she moved her wrist slightly or the sensor was dirty. Every single inconclusive reading triggered a spiral of worry. Despite being on appropriate medical therapy, she ended up visiting outpatient clinics and emergency rooms 12 times in 1 year.
12 times. Just trying to get reassurance.
Yes, desperately seeking reassurance for benign readings. It mirrors classical anxiety models perfectly. Ambiguous data is misinterpreted as a threat, which prompts the user to check the device, which offers fleeting relief, but then the urge to check returns even stronger.
It's heartbreaking because the technology intended to give her comfort ended up hijacking her life. And this hypervigilance is showing up in the sleep data world too. The sources highlighted a condition called orthosomnia.
Yes, orthosomnia. It is the obsessive pursuit of perfect sleep metrics.
Like people treating sleep like a high score in a video game.
Precisely. While it's not a formal psychiatric disorder yet, sleep researchers are seeing a massive spike in it. People become so fixated on achieving a perfect 100 on their sleep score that they alter their behavior in destructive ways.
What do?
They will actually stay in bed longer, wide awake and completely stressed out, just to artificially boost the device's recording of their total time in bed.
Here's where it gets really interesting. I'm picturing someone driving a car on a highway, but they become so obsessed with the dashboard, staring at the RPM gauge, the engine temperature, the fuel efficiency numbers, that they completely forget to look out the windshield and they drive right into a ditch.
That is a brilliant way to look at it.
The tragic irony is that the anxiety of chasing a health score actively ruins the health it's trying to measure. You are literally giving yourself insomnia because your stress hormones are spiking over failing your sleep tracker.
That analogy perfectly captures the physiological reality. When you look at a bad sleep score, your body often releases cortisol, a stress hormone. Psychology Today noted a mixed method study where participants experienced increased perceived stress after wearing a smartwatch for just 1 week.
Just 1 week of wearing it.
Yes, it takes the normal, completely harmless physiological fluctuations of being a human being and turns them into a constant cause for alarm.
But if the hardware is this prone to misinterpretation and the psychological effects are driving us into anxiety loops, it makes you wonder why the industry is pushing this narrative that we absolutely need to track everything.
Well, the answer really comes down to regulatory loopholes and the incredible value of the data being harvested.
Of course, it's about the data.
Always. There is a massive industry built on selling us the illusion of absolute control. In January 2026, the FDA released a general wellness guidance that essentially gave these companies a free pass.
What did the guidance say?
It stated that as long as software is marketed for encouraging a healthy lifestyle and doesn't explicitly claim to diagnose or treat a specific disease, it is not considered a medical device.
Oh, wow. That is a very convenient gray area.
Extremely convenient. They get to dodge all the strict, incredibly expensive clinical trials and medical regulations, while their marketing still heavily implies you need their product to manage your health.
Because they recognize that we are a chronically tired, stressed out populace, right?
Exactly. So they sell optimization. They promise that if you just collect enough data, you can hack your biology, achieve perfect recovery, and master your sleep.
And once they hook you and you buy the hardware, they lock you into paid AI-driven subscription ecosystems just to decode the raw data they're pulling off your wrist.
You got it. It's a brilliant business model.
But what happens to all that data once it leaves our wrists? Because we are talking about a staggering amount of highly intimate biometric information.
It's trillions of data points annually. A 2025 living systematic analysis of 17 wearable manufacturers highlighted what can only be described as a privacy nightmare.
A nightmare. How bad is it?
This biometric data includes your heart rhythms, your exact sleep schedules, your physical location, and your metabolic responses. The report noted that on the dark web, comprehensive healthcare data records can sell for up to $250.
Okay, just for context, how much does a stolen active credit card sell for?
Typically around $5.40.
$5 for credit card and $250 for my health data.
It's exponentially more valuable.
But logically, that makes complete sense. If my credit card is stolen, I call the bank, cancel it in 5 minutes, and get a new number. You cannot cancel your DNA.
No, you can't.
You cannot change your historical heart rate data or your metabolic profile. If that gets out, it is out forever.
And the analysis showed that it does get out. They cited massive industry breaches. One single incident exposed over 61 million fitness tracker records.
61 million.
Yes, and a separate, larger breach compromised the health information of 100 million individuals. And the threat isn't just malicious hackers on the dark web.
Who else is looking at this?
There is the looming structural threat of insurance companies legally purchasing aggregated health data to risk profile populations and adjust premiums, or even employers evaluating job candidates based on their stress markers or sleep efficiency.
That is terrifying. It fundamentally changes the relationship we have with the product. If we are paying hundreds of dollars for the smartwatch and then paying a monthly subscription fee for the app just to generate biometric profiles that insurance companies or employers could theoretically use against us, are we the consumer, or are we just paying for the privilege of being the product?
This raises an important question about how we navigate consumer tech. Currently, there are no robust, industry-wide privacy standards specifically tailored for wearables.
None at all.
Not robust ones. Companies frequently hide their data sharing practices behind dense 50-page terms of service agreements. And because of privacy fatigue.
Which is just the exhaustion of constantly being asked to consent to things.
Exactly. Because of that fatigue, most users just blindly click accept without understanding the permanent record they are creating.
So what does this all mean? We've looked at the genuine public health benefits, the motivation it provides, but we've also waded through the inaccurate optical sensors, the lag in the glucose monitors, the orthosomnia, and the massive privacy risks.
It is a lot to balance.
It really is. How do we actually live with this technology without being completely owned by it? How do we reclaim our body's voice?
Well, the researchers in our sources suggest a much more balanced, intentional approach to wearing these devices. First, you have to retrain yourself to view the data as macro trends, not daily absolutes.
So stop staring at the day-to-day numbers.
Exactly. These metrics are rough guides. Do not obsess over a single day's fluctuation. Look at the bigger picture. Is your resting heart rate generally trending downward over a 6-month period? Are your average daily steps increasing over the quarter?
Right, zoom out. Don't let a sleep score of 62 ruin your Tuesday when your monthly average is completely fine. What's the next step?
Second, set strict physical boundaries with the device. Turn off the non-urgent push notifications.
To silence them completely.
For the most part, yeah. You should check your data at intentional times, like once a day when you wake up or before bed, rather than constantly reacting to your wrist buzzing every time your heart rate elevates because you got stuck in traffic.
I love that. You own the device doesn't own you.
Precisely. And third, if you do see a trend that concerns you, take it to a professional.
Don't just Google it and panic.
Right. Use the data to inform a conversation with your doctor, who understands your full clinical context rather than making unilateral medical or dietary decisions based on an app's color-coded graph.
That is such crucial advice.
And above all else, listen to your body. If you wake up feeling energized and rested, but the app says your sleep was poor because you moved your arm too much, trust your body.
Yeah.
Your lived physical experience matters far more than an algorithm's guess. If tracking your meals or your sleep is actively increasing your perfectionism or giving you anxiety, take the watch off. Put it in a drawer for a week.
It all comes back to remembering that a normal, living biological system is supposed to fluctuate. You aren't a machine, and your metrics shouldn't be a flat line.
Exactly.
A bad sleep score doesn't dictate your mood. A glucose spike after eating an apple doesn't mean you poisoned yourself. It means your metabolism is working. The ultimate goal is to use this technology to listen to your body more closely, not to replace your body's voice with a push notification.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, your health is incredibly complex. It cannot be reduced entirely to a dashboard, and your daily experience shouldn't be graded by a piece of software.
Which leaves us with a final thought to chew on today. If we continue to outsource our internal bodily awareness to algorithms and screens, will future generations eventually lose the innate human ability to intuitively recognize what it feels like to just be tired, hungry, or stressed without a device telling them first?
It is a profound question. We have to ensure that in our quest to measure everything, we don't accidentally silence our own instincts.
Listeners, please like, comment, and subscribe to hear more My Mind MashUps deep dives. You can find My Mind MashUps everywhere you listen: Amazon Music, Audible, Facebook, Pocket Casts, Spotify, TikTok, YouTube, and now available on Apple Podcasts.
We truly want to hear your take on this.
Yes, drop your thoughts in the comments. Your perspective could shape our next deep dive. So, tomorrow morning, when you wake up, stretch, and feel the sunlight, before you look down at that piece of glass and silicone on your wrist, take a second. Ask yourself how you feel, and whatever the answer is, trust it. Thanks for listening.